Alright, so we're going to be talking about a pretty special thing today, which is Nautilus. Nautilus is really cool, because he gives CC to a frame that doesn't have CC. He's like a secret fifth ability, hence the title. He has pretty much only one precept we would look at, and obviously it'll be up on the screen, where he doesn't have any, like, other utility other than if you're in Railjack, he has Omni Precept, which just repairs stuff for you, which is pretty cool. But in every other mission, he has an ability called Cordon, which is basically a fifth ability to, like, frames without CC. Like, for example, I'm playing Nyx. I don't have group up CC. I have, like, Chaos and whatever. But if I was to get near these guys, it'll make that noise, that suction noise, which pulls them up. Combining this with a few things for the Sentinel rework, he actually becomes really good. For example, Manifold Bond. Kill these guys and get them out of here. Manifold Bond. Which, if you kill enemies under, I think, 3 status effects, it basically reprocs, just for free. Because it shaves down time. So we'll open this up here. I run a pretty simple build on him, which is just Cordon, because it's 30 meters, 15 seconds, and then I also run spare parts because farming's easy with him. Because of Cordon, spare parts is like a given. But with the Sentinel and Pet rework, we did get 2 more mods that are really good on him, which is Mystic Bond, which after your companion uses abilities with cooldowns 5 times, he'll be using both of these a lot. You will get an ability to cast without energy. But what really shines here is Manifold Bond, which is 3 or more unique status effects. It will reduce the cooldown by 3 seconds. This in general is already really strong, but combining it with the fact that you honestly in high level content should be doing this kind of stuff anyway, it really snacks together. All you need is a weapon that has a decently high status chance, or on the off chance that you don't want to run a status chance weapon, he has an absolutely busted secondary, which I just run this general purpose build because it gives me heat, radiation, and viral, triggers the proc, with a 149 status chance that hits like 19 times a second. He basically absolutely eviscerates enemies. Not like damage wise, but when he inflicts tons and tons. And it doesn't even matter if they don't stack or anything like that, because in the end, all you need him to do is apply those status effects, which gives a lot of like general purpose utility. And like, yeah, a lot of frames do get like CC built into their kit, but if you subsume it off, or you feel like it's not doing enough, Nautilus is definitely a pick I would say you should do, because in any general purpose content, being able to pull enemies to you relatively fast, easily, and with no cost to yourself, which is the biggest point. There's no cost for him to do that for you, especially if you're running Manifold and Mystic Bond, because then you're actually getting better value, because he's stacking on top of anything else you're doing. Having free energy casts isn't a lot in the current state of the game, where everybody has like easy ways to get energy. But having it as an additional thing on top of it, whether it be you're using Nourish, you're using Dispensary, Spectre Rage, which is Spectra Siphon as the augment, it doesn't matter, because you get theoretically, if you're playing in high level content, you should be getting the proc consistently. Like, there's not really anything you shouldn't be getting there, especially because you should be priming all of the time. And even if not, the weapon will literally do it itself. It has such a high status chance that it's a 1.5 status chance per shot chance. And honestly, where can you go wrong with that? You just throw in radiation, virulent, heat, and pretty much you have 3 really, really good bases covered, and it pretty much covers the rest of everything for you. Obviously, Nourish is super, like, strong right now, so you would have viral on your own weapons. But overall, like, it absolutely eviscerates enemies. Because you just, like, an entire group of enemies that are already primed because he's doing it, not you. You could prime it. I mean, my favorite combo for this is the Prisma Oma, because it's a pretty decently high status chance weapon that you can just absolutely eviscerate on. Combining this with other CC frames is actually pretty good too, because if you have a downtime where you don't CC, like Mag, if you already used pull but you don't want to again, he'll just do it for you. Sometimes it's a little inconsistent, and it's also very hard to determine where he's going to do it. Sometimes it's in front of him, which I think that's where the hitbox is supposed to be, but because we're in a fast-paced game, sometimes it does definitely grab enemies and either put them behind you, or it will try to pull them off of a ledge, which obviously does make it very difficult. But if you're running a high status chance weapon and you're using Manifold Bond and even Mystic Bond, I just recently got it. Both of those are from the pet seller in Cetus. Honestly, it's a good all-around companion if you're feeling like you're not either getting enough CC, or if you feel like you need something other than a Smita Kavat. I know some of the other, like the is this the Slybola Phyla, which deals the Vira? I might be wrong on that one. Objectively, probably my favorite Sentinel in the game, being that other, like, Sentinels are kind of weak right now. We don't really have any, like, we don't have a util for Worm, or even Carrier to an extent, because ammo mutation mods are, it's so free nowadays. Like, just throwing it into your, like, primary or secondary Exilius slot and just forgetting about it, honestly. But definitely Nautilus is probably one of my favorite Sentinels to use. In order to farm him, it's the Neptune Proximus. I'll probably place a little, like, table here. It is relatively difficult to get him. There's only 2 sources, which is like rotation B and C, and then also cash drops in the Railjack missions, so it can take a little bit to get him, but he's definitely worth it when you have him. Forced CC, obviously it doesn't work on Eximus units, but honestly it doesn't need to, because he complements a melee build, he complements an explosive build, he complements a punch through build. I use him with Dread, I use him with the Latum. Pretty much any weapon I have, I would use Nautilus on. Smita is good because of the, like, critical chance, but if I'm not willing to gamble it, I definitely pick him over it. It's relatively easy to get guaranteed value off of him, and that's always a nice thing, because, like, in high-level content, you should be running sustainability anyway, rolling guard, adaptation, regardless of whatever your flavor is. So if he does get a little overwhelming, you can just roll away. Also, because you should be moving, enemies can't really catch up to you, so you should be relatively fine on that end. So, he's a pretty good all-around companion, great status primer, which always helps. The only, like, kind of annoying thing about it is it doesn't spread to other enemies like the Kuvan Nukor, but genuinely, even if it's one target, you kill what he primes, that is 3 seconds off of his cooldown that you didn't have before. So, and spare parts obviously makes this very easy with Manifold Bond. Since since he pulls targets, he'll pull the spare parts target to you, which you'll notice, I didn't see anybody talking about it, but spare parts targets are marked in a, like, yellowish light around them. while he is also. So you can always tell if the ability's up. Let me see if I can't get this to proc real quick, actually. Keep an eye on him. Unless it doesn't work in this. But if he marks a target, they'll glow yellow. He glows yellow as well, which is very, very nice. So you can tell when the ability is active and when you are going to get value from it. And because, again, the Primes targets and Manifold Bond will cause it to... Because you should be killing enemies faster than he is marking them at that rate. Because of their 4 CC. Yeah, it's to the front of where he is looking. So, over here. Because of Manifold Bond, and obviously Mystic Bond is really good too. I do appreciate Mystic Bond. It's just free energy. There's no reason he shouldn't be proccing that a lot. Just run a status weapon, or even if not, remember, he has a status weapon himself. So, alright. Yeah, Nautilus is pretty good. Definitely probably one of my top pick companions in the game right now. I don't run like any Highlands or anything like that. But since Corden is exclusive to him, honestly, he's in like 90% of my loadouts, other than like my farming sets and stuff like that. So, thank you for watching. Probably going to do a frame video after this one. So, I will see you then.